Greetings, fellow insomniacs, and welcome to another episode of the Creature Features podcast. Wherever you listen to podcasts, YouTube, and Miami Fox streaming, I am, of course, your friend in fright, your host, and the guide to all things Creature Featuredom. My name is Chunky Larry, and we are going to be talking about something that is special for a lot of people in this episode. And I can already see the producers over at Miami Fox having to clear the footage for this episode. Just like, why? But it's because this is a seminal piece within the history of horror. This is an entryway horror film for people for generations, and it has not lost its luster. And I'm absolutely thrilled and just pleased as punch to be able to have this conversation. And to have this conversation, I'm going to be joined by somebody that I've grown rather fond of in the world of TikTok. He is also a podcaster as well. He is the host of the Sinister Scripts podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, Ryan, how you doing, my boy?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
And so one of the things that we do with this show is that when I have a guest on, which I always have a guest on, but when I have a guest on, they pick the movie. And you clearly like this movie just based on the artwork and the background.
Yeah.
Please let everybody know what we're going to be talking about today.
We're going to be talking about the classic vampire film, The Lost Boys from 1987.
Michael and Sam have just moved to Santa Carla, California. They're about to discover its secret.
Notice anything unusual about Santa Carla yet?
No. It's a pretty cool place. If you're a Martian.
Or a vampire.
When you scream. So where are you? The flying nun?
I'm your brother, Sammy. Help me!
Stay back! Stay back!
What's happening to me, Star? Get yourself a good sharp steak. Drive it right through his heart.
You're a vampire, Michael. My own brother, a damn blood-sucking vampire.
Oh, you wait till Mom finds out, buddy.
When a vampire buys it, it's never a pretty sight.
Michael, they're coming! Oh, shit!
And I never, like, I've been doing this podcasting thing for a while, and the thought to talk about the Lost Boys has never crossed my mind. Like,
Surprised.
never. Which
I'm
is
surprised.
Weird. Because to me, it's one of those things where it's like, oh no, that, you know, that everybody's seen the Lost Boys, right?
Right.
And so, what I want to talk about before we get into the movie is where you discovered the film The Lost Boys.
So I have to give a lot of my credit for my love in horror movies to my aunt. Well, she's not blood aunt, but for all intents and purposes, she's my aunt.
Yeah.
And she got me started because she is a huge Bela Lugosi fan, loves the original monsters, the black and white. And so she had me watching those from a really young age. And honestly, The Lost Boys was one of the first one. I was probably 10 and 9, somewhere around there, and she was like, you need to watch this movie. I think it's like a perfect intro to horror movies, so we're going to see where this horror movie journey is going to take you. And I remember watching The Lost Boys, and I was like, that was it for me. From that day forward, it's literally been like my favorite horror movie. I know people are like, it's not horror, it's horror comedy. What is it? Like, it's got a lot of things going on for it. But for me, I was like, there's so much to love from that movie. From the bit of comedy, the soundtrack is absolutely top notch. I mean, everything from this movie I just felt was like the perfect epitome of like 80s life in a horror movie. And for me, I have to give my aunt credit because she was the one that had me watch it. So from that point forward, I was hooked.
And you're you're absolutely the age that I think that this film should be targeted towards.
Yep.
The young audience that is going to work their way into the horror genre. This is one of those films like Gremlins, like Jaws, that are perfect entryway horror films for an aspiring horror fan. Like if you're going to show kids horror, which I strongly recommend that you do, because it provides kind of this separation from the horrors of reality to the horrors of cinema. And being honest with children, I think, is ultimately one of the most important things about raising children. And there are people that are like, "Oh, you show kids horror movies, you're a terrible parent." That's bullshit. You're a parent, right, Ryan?
Yes. Yeah. My daughter's 8, and she's at the age now where I'm like starting to kind of like, she's seen Coraline and some of the, and she's interested in Gremlins, and I'm right on the cusp of like, maybe we need to sit down and watch The Lost Boys. You know what I mean? So I 100% agree with you. Like, you need to be able to, I think, share that, especially as a cinema lover, like share that with them. And I think this is the perfect way to your point. Yeah. Blend like the difference between the horrors of reality and cinema.
And a really interesting thing about being a fan of horror films is there is a sweet spot where you believe what you're seeing, and to believe in magic still and not be jaded by life.
Right.
And that's the perfect entryway for a horror fan. And it sounds so fucking weird to say that, but school is indoctrination, church is indoctrination,
sure,
everything is indoctrination. But I think that, to me, the horror genre is something that is so important because it is a allegorical mirror that we hold up from the world. And everything that you watch within the horror genre has a reference of what it is that they're speaking of. In that particular point in time, they're talking about something that's prevalent within that generation. Right. And with this film, there was this weird like obsession with the story of Peter Pan at this period of time, which, if you look at what was going on in the world, especially in pop culture, it was a lot of this Peter Pan mentality, and this, we're going to live forever, we're going to be young forever, and a lot of loss because of that ideology. But before we get into all of that, we do have to go to the world of Imdibbles and read a short synopsis for The Lost Boys. Financial troubles force a recent divorcee and her teenage sons, Mike and Sam, to settle down with her father in the California town of Santa Carla. The town is plagued by bikers and some mysterious deaths. At first, Sam laughs off rumors he hears about vampires who inhabit the small town until he makes friends with 2 other boys who claim to be vampire hunters. But after Mike meets the beautiful girl at the local amusement park, he begins to exhibit signs of vampirism, sleeping days and staying out all night. He's drawn into the gang of bikers by the beautiful girl. The younger boy starts getting into trouble because of his friend's obsession. Fearing for his own safety, Sam recruits the 2 young vampire hunters to save his brother by finding and destroying the head vampire. And that was written by J. Remington W. And if you give your name, we give you credit. And
like, when you read that, I'm like, I don't know if I would like it sounds so outlandish.
Yeah. This kid, he befriends some fucking vampire hunters at a comic book store, and his brother becomes a vampire. Oh shit, I'm doing your part. Because we are now in the segment where we have the guest summarize in a way that isn't as verbal as, verbal vomit and telling you everything that happens in the movie. You're going to explain the movie with as little explanation as humanly possible. And it's a segment that we call Synopsis Obscura. And Ryan, I cannot wait to hear what your explanation for The Lost Boys without giving anything away would be.
Without giving anything away. Let's see here. It's like it's like horny teen gets lured in by pretty girl, causing trouble in small town with history of sinister deeds in the shadows.
So, yes. Yes. To me, The Lost Boys is one of those films that is a time capsule of a period of time that is beloved by a lot of people, and
Sure.
it runs a lot of gambits, specifically, beach culture. Like, it feels pseudo Venice Beach in a way, where there's lots of weirdos, and so this film lives and dies by its identity, and its identity is a culture, and its culture is inherently Santa Cruz. Now, I don't know if you've ever been to Santa Cruz or not, but I kind of grew up in Santa Cruz.
Okay.
So I would spend summers in Santa Cruz with family, and it's lots of being in the beach and wandering the boardwalk, like a place. So watching the film for the very first time, I remember specifically, this was as soon as it came out on video. I didn't go to the theater to see it, but there was a hype around it because it was this huge fucking film for its time. This was a large film.
Yeah.
And when it made its way to home video, it had already had this like notoriety to it. So we had fucking got the video, we went bowling, and we had my aunt from Santa Cruz. And so we're all like crouched around the living room, and I'm fucking young. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
this is its earliest inception to VHS, which I think is 88, 89. So I'm like 7 or 8. Like,
Gotcha.
and I just remember it just being so like the idealized version of where I'd been, you know what I mean? And it fucking worked to me because it spoke to the mindset of Peter Pan. If you look at it as a young child, this, like magical world of like, you're cool and you can fly and you have powers. And, it's all of those things, but then it's also a vampire movie.
Right.
I don't know, man. Like, looking at this movie, I wonder if there's any say or any thought behind, like, it has to be intentional, right? The way that they create the characters kind of aloof and very teenager. It doesn't feel like it's appealing to that particular age range. It feels like it's appealing to a younger age range, their idealized version of what a teenager is. Because a teenager watching this, they're going to be like, this is ridiculous. This isn't how we are.
Right.
But a little kid thinks, oh shit, when I become a teenager, I get to ride a motorcycle on the beach.
Right. Well, I can't remember who wrote it initially, but I remember reading, I know Joel Schumacher directed it, and I remember reading that initially the characters were designed to be younger. It was initially supposed to be kind of like The Goonies, right? Which is around the same time. So it was like younger kids. And then Joel got and a few others when they got the story, and I think they signed on to do the movie. They were like, we upped the ages to be a little bit older. So I'm wondering if they still kind of had that little bit residual of that initial kind of like, it does appeal more to like a younger kid, I think, with the Peter Pan, the Lost Boys, never growing old powers, being able to stay up late and do what I want and kind of, be that, preteen kind of thing that kind of still carried over. And somehow I think the cast was still young enough to make that work and to kind of pull off a lot of those tropes, we'll say. But I did find that interesting that I was like, I didn't realize, because I imagine the movie being filmed where, Corey Haim is the character of Michael, someone that age, right? I think it changes the entire trajectory and the entire look of the movie.
It's very much like the film Suspiria, in the sense that was originally written to be little girls at a ballet school.
Yep.
And the only thing they changed was the age. Like, so if you look at Suspiria in that perspective, that they're playing little kids, same thing with this. It makes it that much like scarier.
Yeah.
And I personally, I think that it was a good decision to change it from children in this situation.
I do too.
In Suspiria, I think it could have worked, but I think that there's storytelling templates and beats that exist inside of this movie that aren't necessarily going to be fundamentally changed like Suspiria would be. Suspiria is a dancing school. This, it's, the relationship with Michael and Star, who are played by Jason Patric and Jamie Gertz, who he got Jamie Gertz the role of Star in the movie because of Solar Babies. Now, Solar Babies, dude, I remember I was in like Latchkey. I was a Latchkey kid, and we would pretend like we were, Solar Babies and shit. Like, so the two fucking movies that were like inherently in my veins, in my and two entirely different styles of movies, though both very much young skewing. And so, Solar Babies is kind of like the Lost Boys version of a dystopian sci-fi action film.
Right.
And so, and this is the same thing, but for vampire movies. And both are really held together by the relationship between Jason Patric and Jamie Gertz.
Yep.
And you look at the casting and you look at, like the story of Star and Michael is the story, though it's also, it could be argued that it's, Corey Haim and Corey Feldman's story. And it could also be argued that it's Diane Wiest's story. But in reality, it's fucking Jason Patric and Jamie Gertz. And
absolutely,
like
they're the glue.
It's totally about you, Corey Haim and Corey Feldman.
I mean, it was their first film together, and that went on to be like the Coreys, from then on out. But let's be honest, like they were a fantastic like 1B to the 1A that was Jamie and Jason for sure.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing that works about this movie is that all of the fucking streams of consciousness seem flushed out and seem simple enough that you can tell the stories and make the characters compelling, so you're intoxicated the entire time. There doesn't have to be lulls in the story. I don't feel like there's any lulls, and I watched it 2-3 times in preparation for this conversation, and that was one of the things that really stuck out to me, is that the rhythm of the movie never has that dead spot. You know what I mean? Where it's like we're just gonna go expository now.
Exactly.
You don't know shit about these fucking vampires.
Right. But and I was amazed because for me, like I think it has a very high rewatchability factor. And I mean, I guess I have a little bias since it is my favorite movie, but like I also was like shocked when I was like looked at the runtime and I was like, it's actually a pretty long movie. And it was even more impressive when you just said that because I was like, yeah, you know, because I never felt bored or like, hey, this is filler. I can kind of zone out right here. Like everything fit and it had a reason for everything.
Now, I think that part of that has to do with Schumacher being kind of a music video guy.
Yeah.
And it has the rhythm and cadence of a music video in the sense that it just like it perfectly aligns to the late 80s style of television. Like it feels like it could have been an MTV movie with the music drops and everything. And like, let's talk about the music drops just for a second because I feel like that's an important portion of this.
So
movie.
good.
They have these modern bands doing covers of classic songs, and it fucking works. Like
it's so good.
I can't go into Santa Cruz to this day and not play People Are Strange. Like I'm of course going to play the Doors version, but just like it's a visually evocative song of Santa Cruz. If you've ever fucking been there, like you, and especially because we're like TikTok fuckheads, it's immediately like, oh, I'm gonna fucking shoot a fucking Doors music video.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I mean, yeah, you're Joel being the music guy. I think that's, and if I recall, that's what got Kiefer to even take the role was because he was like, he saw NXS on the soundtrack and was like, this is some of my favorite music, and was like, all right, I'm in. But having those classic, the Echo and the Bunnyman covering the Doors, and then and then obviously with the stuff with the Rob Lowe, and he had just done St. Elmo's Fire. So like, I love that he pulled from his, what he had already done and pulling, like, it's what he knew, to your point, like being a music guy, like, why don't we make all of this classic music like aligned to the story we're telling? And it's just perfect. It's perfect.
And like looking at this film, even today, the characters don't feel like, and a lot of the times, like I usually look at like whenever Hollywood tries to do black, so gangsters and hip hop, it always just seems kind of fake and phony. And it's like, we're gonna turn our hat to the side and yo G, and like there wasn't that with the hair metal bands, you know what I mean? And that's what it feels like. It feels like it's just like this cool, weird pseudo goth guy, and then a bunch of dudes from like Winger. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Like the guitarist from Cinderella.
Yeah. That's true.
The style and the overall like atmosphere of this film feels inherently to its time, and it's just like it's a mixture of the music, of the fucking clothing style, of the actors that they chose. Like Alex Winter is a perfect fucking choice for this movie.
Absolutely.
It's fucking Bell, dude.
Yeah. Marco, you killed Marco.
Yeah. The fucking
It was just, I mean, it was this ragtag bunch of like teenagers, and it was perfect. And I love the fact that like all these years later, this was 87, so like the music in this let Schumacher get the job for Phantom of the Opera years later in 2004 because of, Andrew Lloyd Webber looked at him and said, you did such a great job with the music. I love how that fit in the movie. Come work on this. So like, game recognized game, I guess, in that aspect.
I think that the art of filmmaking, in my opinion, a lot of it lives and dies with the edit. And, you can capture a frame, but if you don't have like the energy behind it, then when it hits the edit, it loses all of the visual that you had. So you have to have that energy that kind of exists. So I look at it like a banana. And so you cut a banana and then there's all this other bit of banana, but you just want this bit of banana. That doesn't mean that this other banana isn't good. And so you have to get the best flavored banana, or when you cut it, for it to taste perfect. And it's like cooking, it's like anything, but it all falls into rhythm. And style and rhythm are things that I feel cannot be taught. I think that a rhythm thing is a thing that you just either have or you don't. And even with the shitty Batman movies, you can see his rhythm, his style, and it, like that's the director, but it's also the editor, but it's the director. And Schumacher, just like all of his films have this nice crisp like flow to them. There's not a lot of dead space. So he knows where in the banana to keep. I don't know why I went with a banana analogy, but hey, here we are.
I mean, I agree.
What did you think of the makeup?
I thought overall, I thought it was pretty good. I liked the only thing I didn't care for, and when I guess we can tie it in with the makeup, was I didn't love the glitter in the blood. I thought but I also felt like that kind of tied back to appealing to a younger, like a child, and that you know what I mean. And I'm not trying to make it like overly violent for the film, but overall, I thought that the makeup was pretty well done. I liked the prosthetics that they put on the vampires when they did, what did they call it, vamping out. I think it was the first film where they used vamp out when they were vamping out, like with the raised brows and stuff like that. I thought overall they did a pretty good job with it. I enjoyed the look, more so than even some newer films.
I think that it's the subtlety that works for it. Specifically with Kiefer Sutherland, like when he's a vampire, it's the way that it's lit. Like he has this kind of white hue to him, kind of at all times, and it's so deeply contrasted by the black that he wears, and the blonde with the fucking. It's like that shit is perfect. Yeah, and then the other ones are just kind of. To me, they're just kind of there visually. I could give her. They're like,
I thought the tree scene was extremely, like when you first really see them all in that over the bonfire was perfect. Like to your point, it was so perfectly lit when Kiefer's in the shadow and he comes into the light and you see and then they pan, but you see they focus on him because he looks great. Yeah. And then they kind of pan to the others quick, just to show that they're vampires. But I would agree, they're definitely not meant to be the focus. Kiefer's the focus.
And I think that that's just such a good idea in the sense that you don't want anyone in the background to outshine the focal point, because he's Peter Pan.
Yeah,
100%. He's Peter Pan. Star is Wendy, and then the other guys are just the other guys, like the
Lost Boys. Yeah,
you don't fucking know their names. They have names, but you don't fucking care. You know what I mean? And that's the way that it's supposed to be. And then, Michael is watching this film now. I see as a parent of a teenager, Michael is a fucking idiot.
Yeah, 100%.
He's just so blinded by the pussy that he's just like, I'm just gonna get in with this fucking crew that gets kicked off the boardwalk all the time. They fucking ride dirt bikes on the fucking beach, which is dangerous.
Yeah.
Like that's dangerous. This fucker tried to run me off of a fucking cliff, and then he's got me hanging from a fucking like
bridge.
What? As a parent, it's like, what?
Yeah, I'm gonna have some person I just met pierce my ear and get the leather jacket. Like he bought in hard. He bit hard.
Watching it as a kid, I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever. Yes. Watching it as a parent of a teenager, I'm like, you son of a bitch, Michael. You're doing back together, god damn it.
And like Diane Weiss, like his mom is so great, and I'm like Michael, quit being a shithead to your mom. She's amazing.
She's so fucking cool. Like she's going through a divorce. She has to uproot her entire life and fucking go live with her weird dad, and just to make sure that you guys have a place.
Yeah.
Like, she takes a fucking job at a video store.
Yeah. Like this, that maybe that goes into why I love this movie a lot more. Like my mom is so much like Diane Weiss. Like watching this movie, it's like, oh, it's like I'm the family because I'm very familiar with her, and to the point where like my mom even has a weird dad. My grandfather is like the Florida man that you see in the news. That's my grandfather.
You have a TV?
No. I just like to read the TV guide. Read the TV guide. You don't need a TV.
Dynamics, but I'm like, yes, to your point, like, Michael, quit being a shithead to your mom. She's doing the best she can. And that's whenever he was like, what did the grandpa say? You're the only woman I know that never didn't improve her status by getting divorced.
Yeah. Dude, and she is such a fucking balancing act for everything that goes on in this film.
Yeah.
And it's so underappreciated how good she is in this movie. 100%. In the sense that she really is kind of like the teetering point for Michael and Sam. She's the teetering point for Max. She's the teetering point for her dad. Like all of the shit sits on her shoulders, even though she's not really in it. Right. And the scene with her and the dog when she goes
with Thorne.
Yeah. That is some Cujo shit, bro.
Yeah.
Like I fucking love that.
Apology to Max for running out on him last night. Which young man you should be making?
Mom.
Honey, I better bring this up to the house or somebody's just gonna take it.
All right, I'll be here.
Hi, Thorne.
But there's so much of that, and that's what I'm saying is there's no point in the film where they find themselves just like, we just gotta kind of do this thing to get to the next thing. Like everything they do is done with the intention of looking good and telling the story in a way that it's digestible, but also in a way that it makes you want to watch it again. Yeah. And not a lot of films have that energy, that passion, that power. They manage to balance the comedy, the horror, the style, the vibe. All of that shit is just there. And I think that we should probably get into Reapers because if I go any further, I'm gonna just go balls deep on my like they're gonna just be smacking me in the chin. So right, where are you coming in with Reapers for The Lost Boys? 0 being the lowest, 5 being the highest.
0 being the lowest, 5 being the highest. I'd say 4.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah,
this is your favorite movie, though.
Yeah, I know. I mean, so it's gotten hard. Like there's so many movies that I've watched over the years that I'm like I feel like a 5 is so hard to get. And this is like, for me, it is a great film. I think it's a fantastic. I think everything we've talked about, from the acting to the music to the direction to the visual, everything about it is top notch. But I feel like putting it into like a horror comedy like bucket, I'm like, I'll take a little bit off just because I'm like, I love the movie. I'll watch it 100 times, but is it a perfect movie? For probably not. Like I understand that I may be a little bit blinded by my personal attachments to the film, but it still may not be a perfect film for everyone.
I just
or
don't
even
see
for me.
what isn't perfect about it. Like point a flaw out. We just talked for fucking how long, and we couldn't come up with one fucking thing that was bad about it. What's bad about this movie? This is a 5 for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This is a 5. This is a perfect movie. It's perfectly written, perfectly edited, perfectly performed, perfectly directed. Like what else? The violence is perfectly utilized for the kind of film that this is. For this, because what kind of film this is an entryway horror film. This is a film intended for children. And you can talk to me until you're blue in the face about how it's meant for adults, but it's not. This is meant for children. This is a film made for children. And
all right, so we're gonna edit this out, and I'm gonna change my vote to a 5. No, I'm just kidding. I want more Tim Capello. That's the downside. I want more codpiece, and I want more glistening biceps, and then I would have upped it to a 5 for me.
We almost got out of this whole thing without talking about the majesty of Tim Capello. Just shirtless, grizzled, and fucking greasy, fucking saxophone in his ass off about how he believes about shit. Like,
I just like, and the funny thing is, I know people that are like, "Oh, I've never seen The Lost Boys. I've never heard of it." I'm like, and I'll pull up that scene, and I'm like, "Have you ever seen this?" And they're like, "Fuck, yeah, that I know that scene. I know." I'm like, "Of course you know that scene."
Yeah.
Because, and I had a chance to talk to Tim at a convention. Nicest guy. I mean,
of course.
Super kind, and he's like, it was so funny. He's like, what did he say? He was like, I didn't get paid jack shit for that movie, and they're making all this money off of it. I was like, Tim, you gotta take a deep breath here, Tim. I was like, he's like, that movie did nothing for my career. I was like, nothing for your career, bro. I was like, you were a touring saxophonist for Tina Turner. Like, you had a career. You're a musician, but like, did you take this role thinking you were gonna be a star? And he was like, no, he's like, I took this role because it looked like a really good time. And I was like, it came across, it seemed like a good time to me.
Not even that. People aren't coming to conventions to see you because you toured with Tina Turner, motherfucker.
No.
They're doing it because you are making a fucking payment. Every weekend you get a fucking guaranteed number to be flown somewhere because you fucking did a day in this movie.
Yeah. And all you got to do is grease yourself up and put on them chains and hold the saxophone for $35 a pop for photos, man. Sign me up.
So where can they find you guys on social media?
You can find us at Sinister Scripts Podcast. TikTok is our biggest platform. I guess we got another 75 days, right? We got a stay of execution. So, but you can also find us Sinister Scripts on Instagram, Facebook, Sinister Scripts as well. We're most active, like I said, on TikTok, and then also the podcast is on all your platforms. It's on Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, and we have a YouTube channel as well where we post the audio, and then also any interviews we do, like for a video, we'll post all the full length, unedited. Just here you go. You want to see all the bloopers? They're all out there, so you can find us there too.
Fuck yeah, dude. And if you guys are here just because of Ryan, first of all, I don't blame you, but you've enjoyed the conversation. Thank you. You can find us all over the world, all over social media at CreaturePod. Just search CreaturePod on all of the platforms, and you'll find my pretty face smiling back at you. Definitely subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to your podcast. That's Creature Features Podcast. And subscribe to Miami Fox Streaming. Use the promo code CreaturePod. Save yourself 15% on your order. You'll be able to watch a bunch of shit. There's Now That's What I Call Horror, which is an 80s horror documentary. There is Creature Features Curations with your boy, and the Creature Features podcast. And there's going to be bonus episodes that are not going to be on the main stream. So if you wanted to hear things that you wouldn't hear, that's the way you would do that. But we're going to get out of here. So for Jason Patrick, for Kiefer Sutherland, for Corey Feldman, for Corey Haim, for Ryan, and for myself, again, my name is Chunky. This has been another episode of the Creature Features Podcast. Wherever you listen to podcasts, YouTube, Miami Fox, listen. Someone you trust.